We've all been there, right? You decide you're going to break a bad habit for real this time, but then you find yourself sliding right back into it. It's frustrating, it can feel demoralizing, and it's something pretty much all of us go through. But what if the one tool we're always told to use, sheer willpower, is actually part of the problem? Let's get into it. It really all boils down to this one super simple question. Why is it so incredibly hard to just pay attention? You tell yourself, okay, no more checking my phone, or I'm just going to focus on my breath, or I am not going to eat that cookie. And then what feels like seconds later, your mind is a million miles away. What is going on there?
For so many of us, this is what it feels like, an unwinnable fight. We gather up every last drop of willpower we can find, we try to force ourselves to change, but it just feels like we're pushing a boulder uphill. We're getting totally exhausted, but we're not actually going anywhere. This quote just captures that feeling of pure exhaustion perfectly, doesn't it? It's from someone who was trying so hard to learn how to meditate. The instruction was simple, right? Pay attention to your breath. But the effort, the sheer force of trying to do that was so intense, so draining, that it felt like actual hard labor. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you are definitely not alone.
And get this, the science totally backs this up. Studies show that even when we are trying our best to focus on something, our minds are going to wander about half the time, 50%. You might even be drifting off a little bit right now. So the point is, this isn't some personal failure. It's just a basic feature of the human brain. The real question is, why? Why is our brain built that way?
Well, to get that, we need to take a look at our brain's ancient operating system. There's this really powerful loop running in the background, a learning process that's been around forever, and it is the key to how we get wired for every single habit we have. It's called reward-based learning, and honestly, it's beautiful in its simplicity. You've got a trigger, which leads to a behavior, which leads to a reward. That's it. That little loop is one of the most powerful forces that shapes who we are and pretty much everything we do. For our ancient ancestors, this was all about survival. The trigger is, you see some food. The behavior is, you eat the food. The reward is, you don't starve. Your brain then sends out this massive signal. Hey, remember what you just did? Do that again.
But here's where it gets really interesting and kind of tricky. Our brains are creative. They took this amazing survival tool and started applying it to, well, everything, especially our inner world, our feelings, our emotions, our social lives. So let's take emotional eating, for example. All of a sudden, the trigger isn't a hunger pang in your stomach, it's an emotional pang. You feel sad or stressed out. Your brain goes, hey, remember that food thing? That makes us feel good. Let's try that. And for a minute, it works. Boom, a new habit loop is born. It's the exact same process for other habits. Maybe when you were a teenager, you saw the cool kids smoking. The trigger is wanting to fit in. The behavior, you smoke a cigarette. The reward, you feel like you belong. Then, later in life, that same loop gets hijacked, and the trigger becomes stress. Same loop, different trigger, same powerful habit.
And this is the crucial and honestly kind of tragic twist. This ancient brain process that was designed to help us survive has been turned against us. It's now being used to build habits that are literally the leading preventable causes of sickness and death in the world. Our brains went from learning how to live to learning how to die.
So if fighting this powerful loop with willpower is a losing battle, what's the alternative? This is where a really fascinating and totally counterintuitive idea comes in. What if, instead of fighting our brains, we just got intensely curious about them? Okay, so let's put these two side by side. On one hand, you have the old way. It's a war. It's all about forcing, resisting, and fighting our own urges. And on the other hand, the new way. It's not a fight at all. It's about tapping into a natural quality we all have, curiosity, to just become aware of what's really going on. And this little shift from fighting to being curious is everything. It's what allows us to go from simply knowing a habit is bad to truly understanding it in a way that changes our behavior almost automatically. It's about finally seeing our habits for what they really are.
So check this out. Here's how it works. In a study designed to help people quit smoking, researchers gave them a totally wild instruction. They didn't say resist the urge or try to quit. They said, go ahead and smoke. The only catch was they had to be incredibly curious about the actual moment-to-moment experience of it.
So what happened when they did that? Well, this quote from one of the participants just says it all.
When she really paid close attention, instead of zoning out, she realized that mindful smoking was disgusting. It smelled like stinky cheese and tasted like chemicals. That yuck, that is the sound of a habit's magic spell just shatter it.
And this right here, this is the key to the whole thing. Knowledge is in your head. It's the intellectual idea, I know smoking's bad for me. But wisdom is in your bones. It's that deep, visceral, gut-level feeling that, wow, smoking is actually disgusting. And that kind of wisdom is infinitely more powerful at changing behavior than any fact.
That's what this all comes down to. When you get curious and you really pay attention, you see that the so-called reward isn't actually rewarding at all. You become disenchanted. The magic spell is broken, not by force, but just by seeing clearly. You're just less interested in doing it anymore.
And here is why this is such a game changer compared to willpower. The part of your brain that handles cognitive control and willpower, it's the first thing to go offline when you get stressed or tired. That's why we eat junk food or snap at people when we're exhausted. But this deep, bone-level awareness, it's always there, working in the background, ready when you need it.
So, how can we actually start using this today? Well, this is about rewriting your brain's next move. It's about cultivating a new kind of superpower that, believe it or not, you already have.
The next time you feel a craving or an urge, instead of fighting it or just giving in, try this. Just get curious. What does it actually feel like in your body? Notice it not as this big, scary monster, but just as a bunch of physical sensations. Maybe it's some tightness in your chest, or tension in your jaw, or a restless feeling. Just watch it, and know that these feelings always pass. And every time you do that, you're actually building a brand new, much more positive habit loop. So step 1, notice the urge. Step 2, get curious about it. Step 3, feel the reward, not from the bad habit, but the real joy of just letting go. And step 4, repeat. You're strengthening that new, healthier pathway every single time.
And look, this isn't just for big things like smoking or overeating. Think about all the modern habits that have us hooked. That compulsive need to check your email when you're bored. The anxious urge to reply to a text, even when you're driving. This same process of curious awareness can help you break free from any of them.
So I'll leave you with this. The next time you feel that familiar pull of a bad habit, that urge to escape or distract yourself, you have a choice. Are you going to fall back into being a prisoner of that old reactive loop? Or are you going to step back, get curious, and become the scientist of your own experience? The choice is yours.